Goodness gracious. Oh, God. Get in, lads.
There's no
We're here with
context to this.
Episode 12 of the Get Football Podcast. Andres and I are annoyed because Diego got here 30 minutes late. 30 minutes late.
No, he was here. He was just wasn't.
I was here.
Here.
He was on a phone. He was on the phone. Anyways, let's get to the football. We were trying to do it for 30 minutes.
Let's get straight into it.
Anyways, it was a big week for Concacaf. So our videos going to be centered around a lot of Concacaf. So if you're interested in Concacaf stuff, MLS stuff, please consider sticking around. This guy doesn't even know the topics, dude.
No, I know the topics.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Alright, no. Let him intro. Let him intro. Let him do the first. Let him do it.
Pulled it up. He just pulled up the topics that he put on the phone. He doesn't know him. He just pulled it up. No. Anyways.
Now I know.
Without looking.
Now I know.
Oh my
This is
God.
unbelievable.
Yeah, we're taking applications. We're taking applications for a third coach position. Diego's on thin ice, dude.
Yeah.
Thin ice.
Hey, I had a busy day. I didn't have time.
He's gonna be suspended. He's not gonna be in the next week's episode
We're fighting him.
until he gets his shit together.
Anyways,
Fighting him. That's so.
let's get to the football. Starting off, U.S. men's national team making what could be arguably the worst decision they could have made ever.
Yeah.
Gregg Berhalter is back as manager, officially confirmed as of I think yesterday or the day before. He is confirmed
During the
what
game.
essentially was a vacation. Yeah, right before. It was essentially a vacation for him to come back to his position. What do we think about it? I mean, I give you my opinion to start off with. Worst decision in the history of U.S. men's national team. But give me your thoughts. It's just it is. If
That's a little strong.
If you can tell me a decision that was worse, go ahead.
I don't really watch U.S. soccer, so I don't know.
Anyways,
I mean,
Diego, give me your opinion.
I was just gonna say, like, why did he leave in the first place?
Oh my.
Well, his I'm pretty sure his contract was out. And
so
he wasn't manager anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
So
the
your
whole
thoughts?
controvery happened.
Yeah, the
So my
reign
thoughts,
of
okay,
Berhalter.
That's right, the reign of Berhalter. Yeah. I agree it's a bad decision. I don't know if it's the worst in MLS history, or MLS,
USMNT.
yeah, men's
USMNT.
national team history.
It's everywhere today.
Shut the fuck up. But I definitely wouldn't say it's good at all. Obviously, I think they're like Jesse Marsch. I've been a big proponent of Jesse Marsch. Has managed European football, has shown he's pretty good at what he does. And I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a bad decision, but at the same time, I mean, like, he could do something. He could do something. Like we at the World Cup, he wasn't the best. There's definitely a lot of criticisms, but he could. I mean, they still put up good performances in every game.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say from an outside perspective, it's just weird, because I also feel like it's not a horrible decision based on what they had left, because
Right.
there wasn't a lot of managers to a point, and from the television program I was watching on Paramount, they were saying like they wouldn't pay like Jose Mourinho like a bunch of money to manage the squad, the U.S. men's national team squad, but like you wouldn't get Jose Mourinho to be your national team manager. It's just not gonna happen because he doesn't do that. So, but I feel like they were out of options because they waited too long, to an extent. But I feel like Jesse Marsch, we talked about this in previous episodes, but I feel like Jesse Marsch, I agree with Diego, would have been a better option. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with, Berhalter, because I feel like with the squad they have, they're not going to go, like, yes, it's World Cup is here, but I feel like round of 16, done. Same thing with Mexico, done. Even if we get out of the group stage, done. Round of 16, that's over. I feel like that's where it's over. I don't think the Mexico or the U.S. can get past that round of 16 point personally. But I see him making the same mistakes he did in the World Cup, personally. So, I don't know. Will he learn? I don't think so. But it's a very interesting way, especially the right before the game where, like, everyone's talking about it during halftime. Just a weird thing to do. Couldn't have waited, like, a couple weeks after, Could have waited, like, until after the Nations League and right before the Gold Cup. But I felt a little bit unfair to the interim manager, Because, you want to show that maybe you can do something. But, he didn't even get a chance because it was announced right before the game and everyone was talking about it. instead of the manager that was already in place.
Well, it wasn't announced. It was just rumored. It was like it wasn't officially announced. It was just like someone broke the news, like a third party. So like they didn't officially announce it. It wasn't fully their fault, but they had made the decision by then. It wasn't us till afterwards. And the current interim manager is going to manage in the Gold Cup, not Berhalter. So he still has a chance. Anyways, I think like I'm going to fully disagree with everything you guys just said. If I'm being brutally honest, personally, I think. Okay, let me start with the candidates. You had a few candidates. You didn't have a good pool, but you had a few candidates I would have liked to see. Jesse Marsh, yes, that's the one thing I agree with you. Jesse Marsh could have been viewed. I wouldn't have liked it personally, but Jesse Marsh could have been a better option. You had Patrick Vieira. I would have liked to see Patrick Vieira do something. He was pretty decent with Crystal Palace until the very end. He was, I would say a little bit of unluckiness towards the end. A really hard schedule. I would have liked to see him do something. I would have liked to see Thierry Henry do something with the U.S. men's national
I don't
team.
know about Thierry Henry.
I would have honestly, I would have preferred it to Berhalter. Personally,
Damn.
I think Thierry has got something to prove, and this is a good way to do it. I would have liked to see, I forget his name, but the Hoffenheim manager, who's also American. Dago and I talked about this the other day. Hoffenheim manager, I would have liked to see him do something here. Berhalter, compared to those, is the fifth option out of those five, in my opinion. Secondly, I think with the right manager, in the 2026 World Cup, I could easily see a quarterfinals or semifinals finish for the USA. Of course, it depends on other factors as group stage and like matchups, but I could easily see if you have the right manager for the 3 years before, they could easily get past round 16 with the squad they have now and the squad they've grown. I don't think it's clear cut. They're done by the round 16. I think it's very easy for them to go as high as possible, like quarterfinals, semifinals. I don't want to say final, but quarterfinals, semifinals, especially in the home, I think they could easily do it. But that's with the right manager. And with Berhalter, they're not going to do that. Berhalter statistically is worse than like the past three managers against teams outside of Concacaf. Concacaf is understandable. You can be very good in Concacaf because there's a lot of weak teams. Unlike like the European Union, there's a lot of good teams. African is very equal. South America is very equal in terms of class and quality. North America is not as equal. You can be very easily just as good in Concacaf compared to someone else. But he is really bad against opponents outside of Concacaf. 2-0 loss to Japan, tie with Saudi Arabia, a whole bunch of other stuff. So why sign him back if you're holding an international tournament? What's the point? Why not get someone else who's, I don't want to say more proven, but has a bigger chance at excelling against international opponents? Because it's just pointless. Why sign him back? There is literally no reason to bring him back. You know how much money they put into hiring this whole committee and new director and stuff just for them to be like, yeah, we're just gonna bring Berhalter back. Like, what was the whole?
Bread.
Yeah, but the USMNT didn't. Like, they just give it all up. What's the whole point of it? You bring all these fancy new names in to revolutionize the U.S. men's national team and the fundamental core. Excuse me. Just for you to reassign this guy that you could have done without spending this money on the new leads. It doesn't make sense to me. You have Berhalter obviously has favorites. He tries too hard to bring MLS into the team. He brought Jordan Morris to the World Cup over Ricardo Pepi. Like, why? What's the point?
That was bad.
The past 2 or 3 games we've seen interior managers, Anthony Hudson and BJ Callaghan, free-flowing football. Really good football. They look like a team. They look like a team that was playing together, played for each other, with each other. Once Gregg Berhalter comes in, it's nothing. There's no creativity. It's just let's hope we scrape by, kind of thing. So what's the point? It annoys me. It annoys me very much. I don't know if you can tell, but it annoys me very much that you make this signing again. It's just like this is the one opportunity, biggest opportunity you've had in years, decades. And you make this decision like this, at least change it up a little bit. We're trying to change what the men's national team is like, and you bring Berhalter back. It doesn't make sense. It really does not make sense. I'm okay I'm not okay with just winning Concacaf stuff. Nations League, Gold Cup. I don't care. It's cool. It's great. But who cares? It's pointless. It's a pointless signing. Pointless re-signing. He picks his favorites. He's had scandals.
Canada.
Before. Canada.
Yeah, you said Nations League stuff. You haven't won the Nations League yet. You got to play Canada.
We won the last one. They won the last Nations League.
Yeah, but you gotta worry about Canada.
That's my whole point, though. I don't give a damn. Like, who cares? That's the whole point. Is I want to perform in Copa America. I want to perform in the World Cup. Anything else that comes with it, I don't give a damn about Nations League and Gold Cup. It's great, and I'm going to celebrate winning it. But it's just another one of the trophies in the cabinet. Like I said, there's 3 teams right now that could do any damage in in those tournaments. One of them, which we'll get to in a little bit, hasn't been doing anything in a while and can't compete with the USA on any level. 2 hasn't reached their full potential yet, and still has a little bit to go before that. It's just USA. It's USA, Canada, Mexico, but the USA's on top of it. So, like, who cares? There's no point. There's no point. I need improvement. There's not improvement.
Well, sorry, they should have hired us. We've been saying this for a while, realistically.
I'm just saying.
We know what we can bring to the table. And we know what we get out of the players. All 3 of us. I feel like we do a pretty good job.
Sure.
But at least you guys are winning. Let's be happy about that. At least you're winning something, okay?
I could be beating some 6-year-olds in basketball. I wouldn't be that happy about it. Like, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Okay. If I was playing against 25 players, it's like, okay.
All right.
Calling Mexico 6-year-olds? That's crazy.
No, I'm not calling Mexico 6-year-olds. I'm just saying Concacaf is very.
You're calling the level of opponents. Yeah. So and Mexico's
low. It's
in that,
very low.
and therefore you're calling them 6-year-olds.
Okay, I did. They're not. I'm just saying.
Teamwork, Diego.
The USA is a
corner.
I'm not mad at admitting it. The USA is a level above everyone else right now. So who cares? Like, there's no competition. Let us face the bigger teams. Then it's something. But I shouldn't be scared to face them. I should be like, okay, we have a chance
next year.
I know, but that's what I mean, though. Like, even if we have the shot, like, I don't trust Berhalter to do anything because he doesn't have a good track record of doing anything. Other managers would have.
We'll see. Well,
we have seen the World Cup. We have seen.
I know,
like, we have seen him do stuff.
Like,
that's the thing. And friendlies and stuff. Like, he can't win against outside of Concacaf. So why resign him?
Well, you used Japan, but Japan's solid.
Saudi Arabia, 0-0.
Okay, well that's a different story.
We can't score. We can't even score in friendlies against outside of Concacaf. So then, what's the point of like resigning him? If our whole thing is international against international opponents, why bring him back? I needed that.
Elijah had a lot of. He's been waiting for this moment since Friday.
I was going to record. Record a few days ago, but I had to move out.
Whenever that embarrassing performance by Mexico was Thursday.
So
he's been holding that for the past 2 days.
Let's go south then. Let's go to Mexico. So you guys do research as we do it.
As you do it.
No.
We can hear the typing, brother. There's been more keyboards than words spoken, bro. He's not even focused on the podcast. Okay. That's crazy.
No.
That's crazy.
For another podcast? For another
podcast? That's insane. That's
all right, we're taking new applicants right now. The standard's pretty low. All you gotta do is actually do your research before we actually show up. That would be great, and actually not delay recording for 30 minutes.
My ball knowledge is too good. I don't have to do any research.
It's not. This has been This has been tested. Diego and I ball knowledge is so shit based on that tic-tac-toe. Elijah's a little bit better, but we got exposed.
I actually beat.
Yeah, you beat me. Yeah, I know, but it was like it took a while to the point where Elijah had to cut off the part because it was taking us too long to actually finish the tic-tac-toe.
Okay, in all fairness, Elijah didn't do that great when he went either. It's just harder when you're on the spot.
Yeah, it's hard. So
I don't think it's a fair representation of any of our ball knowledge. That shit's on the spot.
Yeah.
You gotta.
It's only players.
Different.
Remembering players.
Yeah,
but it's fine. Back to our actual topic. We're going down to my boys down south and their embarrassing performance against the U.S. I mean, dismal. Also, super baby-like with how they were playing in terms of whatever the fuck they were doing with all the red cards. I don't know what the fuck their problem is. But it was very, very sad to watch. Very frustrating to watch, especially with the new manager. Definitely, he's already on the hot seat. Personally, I think he should have gone already.
He's been poor, dude.
Struggled against Cameroon, only tied against Cameroon 2-2 a couple days ago before the U.S. game, and tied them in the 90th minute. This is where I can vent now. Well, where to start? It's the manager. It's got to be the manager. This team is playing with there's 11 guys on the pitch, but they're 11 individuals. That's where I got to start. It's 11 individuals on the pitch. They're not even playing as a team.
Quote that.
They're not. What?
I said quote that. That was a good quote.
Oh.
Yeah, you said it.
Thank you. Sorry, he threw me off when
Nice.
he said that. Thanks, Elijah.
Nice. Interrupt the rhythm. Good going.
Anyways.
The rhythm. It's literally 11 individuals. I have never seen a team struggle to connect so many passes together than that team on Thursday. That was hard to watch in that first half. Anytime they tried to build out, not happening. The U.S. press wasn't even that strong of a press, and they were struggling to build out of there. Like, that was poor. If they literally just broke that first line of the U.S., they were through. Not like through it on goal, but you know what I mean? They were through. They were on the attack. But they couldn't do it. For some reason, they couldn't do it. The amount of players I saw walking on some of those goals were ridiculous. It was just unbelievable how bad that team was that he put out. Also, the manager. Holy shit. You put 3 center backs in the back, but you forget to mention one of them has 50 fucking pace, and so it just gets blown past by everybody on that U.S. team. Like, fuck, even Ochoa is probably faster than that guy. No offense, I know he only has 8 caps for the Mexican national team, but fuck me, you cannot be playing 3 in the back with slow center backs. You can't do that. It's physically it won't work, and clearly it didn't work. And then he didn't change it. He didn't fucking change it. And then he made subs after we were already 2-0 down instead of making it immediately. Oh. It's just frustrating because we're in that transition stage of old to new, like the U.S. was a couple of years ago. But, like, it's so bad because this manager isn't making this team unified. It's just a bunch of individuals playing out there. And someone could argue, like, oh, you know, didn't have all our best players out there. Let's be real. Yes, we did. They're good players. There's some good players on that team. But it's so shit that it doesn't even matter. Best player for Mexico is Edson Alvarez. He played well. He was the only player that played well. Ochoa, I can't even say because just got fucking dusted every time he had something happen to him. It wasn't his fault, but fuck. And then Henry Martin, oh my god, I want to kill that guy for his lackluster performance. He looked like, dude, oh, I could have played better than him. He didn't even do anything. He looked like he was just tired. Like, bro, straight from kickoff, tired. He looked tired. Like, I don't know. I like the guy in the Olympics, don't get me wrong, but like, fuck me. That was poor. Oh, dude, overall, manager's got to go. If we lose this third place game, I'm not even going to fucking watch it. But if we do, oh my god, he's got to go. I can see us losing that shit. I'm not even going to lie to you. Against Panama, of all people. And then the Gold Cup, honestly, if he's still there, we're going to fucking lose that shit too. I think with the right manager, a Mexican manager, not trying to be racist or anything, but like a Mexican manager would be nice to be able to unify the squad. Just saying.
Hey,
Yo,
yo,
a Mexican manager. Like, I'm not saying like racist,
Nah,
like
I'm
racist, like racist or anything. I'm just saying like a Mexican manager who like knows like what it means. Like a former player. Like I said, Rafa Marquez should go and be the manager.
I agree with that
because he's managing now. Like I think that would be a shout. Ex-captain, knows what he's doing. World-class player when he was at the peak of his career. Knows what it means to be like truly Mexican, like fight. You know what I mean? Like back when he did. But I think he would be a shout. Personally, but I know this fucking yeah, and I know this fucking federation isn't gonna do jack shit. Let's be real, they're gonna wait probably forever and then do something. But yeah, that's my whole spiel on that shit. That felt good to get off my chest.
I appreciate it, man.
Fucking
You know what?
But I blame the federation, you know, and the manager. Fuck the manager, man. He's so shit.
I'm kind of.
Go ahead, Diego, please.
Sorry, I just want to say I don't know why we haven't seen Santi Jimenez start at all, and like he's I know this is like such a, I don't know, simple and basic argument, but the fact that he plays in Europe and he's doing well in Europe should speak so much more to the quality it has. Like, don't get me wrong, yes, Henry Martin was the top goal scorer in Liga MX last season, but it's Liga MX, bro. Like, no offense to the Mexican league, but if you're doing solid in the Eredivisie and Europa League or whatever, or Conference League or whatever PSV were, or Feyenoord, whatever team he plays for, um,
Feyenoord.
but if you're doing solid in that, I would much rather play you and let you start getting experience and getting into a rhythm than playing the 27, 28-year-old who's, yes, balling in Liga MX, but is only ever balled there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the ceiling for Santi Jimenez is so much higher. And this goes for any position, but I just know that position, especially the forwards. Let's be honest, the forwards are ass right now. And Duna, no. I'm sorry. I saw him play for Galaxy. He was terrible. He was so bad. The only thing he had was pace. That was it. Ibrahimovic was getting pissed off just playing next to him. Okay, so as someone
Well,
who's
it's because
seen him play,
Lozano wasn't there. He didn't get called up.
Look, play Lozano, play Santi Jimenez. I think Mexico has some good midfielders. I like some of the midfielders, but their defense is terrible. I think
they played their best midfield that
defenders.
game. They played their best midfield that game for sure.
Yeah, the
But
midfield was good.
that
And I
midfield
think
got
they have
dusted
good.
by the USA midfield.
Well, it's when you play two in the midfield against three other midfielders. Of course, you're gonna get fucking dusted. It was just a poor formation.
That midfield has enough quality to compete with USA and give them a hard time. It's just when you don't have any support anywhere else, you're not gonna. Of course, it's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
I think the midfield is very good. I think it can totally compete. We saw it compete against the teams in the World Cup. I thought they had a good going there.
That's fair.
But, yeah, of course the U.S. world class, and when your defense is terrible, and you're not getting support from them, and your forwards, like you said, are not good. So,
I want to like.
Thank you. I'm glad
Mexico,
you agree.
like,
'Cause fuck me.
No, I was gonna say too. I was gonna be my point is like, I agree with Andres. The Federation has some questions to answer for sure, and a lot of it is their fault. But it's time to admit that Mexico's player pool compared to 10 years ago is half the quality. They're very. I think like they have good players. Edson Alvarez being one of them, Santi Jimenez being one of them, Julian Araujo being one of them, but like the quality and potential they had 10, 15 years ago with those players coming up is nowhere near. It is way higher than what it is now, and that's literally just unlucky. That's just unlucky.
I mean, let's be real.
Bad
like,
generations.
the golden generation of Mexico was with the Chicha, the Vela, the Giovanni Dos Santos.
Yeah.
That was the golden generation, and that team looked good. Like that for those two World Cups, 2014, 2018, not 2010, 2014, 2018. That was those two World Cups were the best in terms, personally, from what I've seen, of course. But that was the golden generation in recent times. But it's just so frustrating because like those defenders are decent. Like, let's be real, they're decent defenders. It's just when you put three of them back there, and they're slow, like they're gonna get exposed. But if you put like wingers who actually help, like wingbacks who actually give a fuck and actually run back on defense to help support, then it's a different story. But you got to play four in the back because those center backs are too slow. They're just too slow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like,
but you got to just adjust for that.
I agree. Like, yes, the formation and the way this setup was terrible, and it didn't help them. But like, I mean, just looking at player quality, it's just not there. There's only so much you could do. If all the changes you would have made, it would have helped. They're still gonna get smoked, in my opinion, by a lot of the teams in the world, and that's why like it's so hard. It is hard to compete to match that gold generation, of course, but they set a precedent, and you have to meet that now. And if you don't meet that, it's gonna be disappointing regardless. And you know,
they're not
sucks,
even like barely getting bare minimum. They're just like at all dead.
That's what I mean, though.
Dead.
Like, I think it's really hard for me to imagine you bring a different top manager in, and he's gonna do too much better. They can do better, but it's a really low bar.
No,
right now.
If you bring in an actual manager who knows what the fuck he's doing and actually can unify a team, then this team will do a lot better and actually could go toe to toe with the U.S. at this moment in time because 11 players were on that pitch and I saw 11 individuals. But sometimes I only saw fucking 9. At one point, there was only 9 guys on the pitch.
What I'm saying is though, like
sometimes I only saw 7.
I agree with that, but like quality comparison to USA is better and will be better for the next 5 to 10 years. Quality wise,
that's cool, but if you play as a team, it doesn't matter anymore because you have 11 guys fighting for the same thing.
But that's what I'm saying. But like, that's exactly what I'm saying too. Is that you can have the team play together, but I still think you still have to have quality, and I still think USA will have better quality. It will still be a better team, regardless. In this state right now, USA is going to be a better team for the next 5-10 years. Mexico, unfortunately, this isn't down to Mexico. It's down to literally luck. They ran out of good players. Like, they have up and comers, but not nowhere near as much as they need to compete with USA. USA is getting a lot more exposure, opportunities, and better overall talent coming out of the youth setup. Mexico just isn't. That's just is what it is. There's no refuting that. They just aren't. You can bring a good manager in. You can bring someone who unifies it. You can only do so much with that. Lack of quality, in my opinion, takes up a lot. Is going to be like a big portion of their lack of success over the next couple of years.
The thing is, like, you'll say quality, but I generally think it's just soccer IQ 101. Like that Pulisic run he did, where he blew past our right wing back. That was just basic common defense that he just threw out the window and let him go straight past him instead of standing him up. But like, it's just it's the tiny things that they're getting wrong.
That's the quality. That's where the quality comes in, though.
But that goes down to the manager, though. I'm telling you. Well, if they get like a proper manager who knows what he's doing, this team completely changes. It's just the manager is what's lacking. The team is there.
I agree.
I think we can compete with the US if we have the right manager.
I partially agree, but like, I do think you're underestimating the quality. You're overestimating the quality of this team. Personally, like the individual soccer IQ is linked to quality. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you know what you're doing, that you cannot know what you're doing under 3 different managers. It doesn't change what you don't know. They just maybe like go to your strengths. But if you can't do basic things, then that's something wrong. That's something you don't rely on a manager to teach you when you're 26. That's something you should learn when you're 16, 17. Like that's what I mean. Like there is just lack of quality. You need to have. You don't need to. But they don't have the Carlos Velas, the Giovanni Dos Santoses, the Chichas. They don't have that anymore. That's what I mean. You have a decent team, Concacaf wise, but they don't have the quality. I personally don't see any manager coming in and changing the whole thing around just like that. And I do think there is quality, but it's not enough quality that you need to compete at the highest level of the game. And you can disagree with me or not, but I think, to me, what I've seen is a general consensus. It's just Mexico have fallen below the USA in terms of quality output and just players. I mean, just in general. That's from what I've seen. That's what everyone's saying, and like that's something I feel very hard to accept that anyone can negotiate. I think if any manager can come in and completely change the game, but it doesn't change the quality. He just goes towards their strengths. It's a different story in my opinion. So
it's a Ted Lasso. If we got a Ted Lasso-esque type manager and team changes, I'm telling you.
Every single manager talk is either bring Ted Lasso in or bring us in. At the end of every single thing. Go ahead, Leo, go ahead.
I like having fun.
I just want to say, I think definitely the manager changes must happen. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you on that one, Andres. But I have to agree that because of the talent available right now, Mexico, the best Mexico teams were an underdog that you don't take lightly, right? They were that team that if you took them to, like you think it's an easy game, you're getting knocked out because they had the ability to do that. For something they've had for several years now, much better than the U.S. had for a long time. And at this point in time, though, the talent either hasn't been identified by Mexico enough or isn't in their pools of players to choose from, whether it is in Europe or, like I said, I was bashing the Mexican League, but there are probably some players in the Mexican League that are either up and coming or maybe still developing that could do a job, but they aren't either there yet. They aren't there at all, or it's just one of those where it's just the talent pool is undeniably weaker. You can't deny that, and I definitely think it'll take a few years for the team to get back to the point where they were. and I do think that the U.S. will be stronger for the next few years. I think 10 years is strong, though. I think you can still get a lot of good players in 10 years. So I don't know
Yeah.
about 10 years. I think if the Mexico did it right, I think they could come back to that point. But at least at least I would say until the next World Cup, it's looking a little rough for Mexico. I think a good manager could get some good stuff out of the good players they have, like Alvarez, and those other ones that we mentioned. I think definitely a good manager can get some good stuff out of them. But for the whole team, I think you really need to be like, okay, we need to start getting some talent developed, get the academies going, fund our development, send them to Europe. I don't know, whatever you want to start getting that quality of players that we had, that we all know Mexico had, like, 5-10 years ago, because we know that Mexico can develop that talent. We've seen it, and we need it now. We don't have that at all. And as someone who roots for both teams, obviously it was a mixed reaction from me, but for me personally, the Mexico needs. It's not just a manager thing. I don't see one manager coming in with the players right now. I don't see one manager coming in beating the U.S. With that being said, I don't also disagree with Elijah saying like it's like completely like I think a good manager still could come in and make them start performing a lot better because the results recently have been really poor. I think a good manager could come in and make them play much better and at least beat the teams they should be beating convincingly, but they aren't going to be beating better teams consistently, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like you put Pep at Bournemouth, they're not going to win the league. Like he's going to do a lot, but like they just don't have the quality. Like there's like things like that. I also feel like it's very down. It's a lot. It's I don't want to say it's fully down, but like a big factor in it is how stagnant Liga MX has been for years now. Like I'm not a big Liga MX fan. I don't keep up with it too much, just here and there. But I imagine it's very hard as a Liga MX fan to look at MLS and look at the growth that the American League is doing right now and be like, what is happening? Like, why aren't we doing the same thing? And MLS, investing heavily in the youth, heavily in the quality of players, sending a bunch of players now per year over to Europe or South America, things like that. A good output. Liga MX, I mean, it's down to a lot of things, but Liga MX doesn't have that output, which they totally can. I mean, there are so many ballers that just go unidentified. Like, same with the USA, but the USA is trying harder to find it. Mexico could be doing so much more, in my opinion, and Liga MX, I don't want to say, I'm not 100% confident yet in saying it, but it's very close to getting there, that they're being overshadowed by the MLS in terms of media-wise, talent-wise, popularity, money, like everything. They're starting to get overshadowed by their North American neighbors, and I feel like that sucks. The Liga MX could be so much better than it is. Meaning the Mexican national team could be so much better. There's a reason the USA team is getting better, and that's also because the MLS is getting better. Mexicans too, like a lot of Mexican players I've heard are way less comfortable leaving Mexico for somewhere else. Understandable. And that affects it too. There's like a lot of little things that affect things like that. And unfortunately, Mexico has just hit that spot where they've all culminated into an unfortunate end. And now at this point, the word rebuild is not really used in soccer, but you look at what you're doing wrong, and that's a wide scale in regards to Mexican football, and you change a lot. You have to change a lot. Because it's Mexico at one point where, like, I feel like even Diego said, underdogs in any competition, World Cup, every World Cup, at least that I've experienced, it's look at Mexico. You never know. You don't know Mexico, especially 2018, and I feel like they're just not that anymore. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Diego.
I agree there, but I have to disagree with you on the MLS thing. I don't think the MLS are that close to beating it talent-wise right now.
I mean, Leon did beat LAFC. And they're champions of.
That's what I mean. That's why I said it's very hard for me to say it's a full, but I think it's close. And I think that's one game. I mean, they've beat Liga MX's teams too. It's okay.
Yes,
matchup.
but Liga MX has won that competition.
No, of course.
Of
course. And that's what I mean. Liga MX has had more quality for longer. I just think it's coming to a point where the MLS has the future of being better than Liga MX. And I feel like it's really hard to deny that because of how stagnant Mexico's been. They have the raw talent. They just need to, grow that. MLS is trying really hard to grow that, and because they're trying really hard, they're going to get there. Mexico's not really trying because they're just relying on, like, we can do it, but what happens when the MLS is at that point, and Mexico doesn't have anything to try and get higher than that? Then what's the point? I mean, there's a, like, I'm not saying that Mexico, the Game Yankees teams are bad in quality, because they aren't. They're really good in quality. We know that. We've seen that time and time again. At some point, though, there's a ceiling there, and the MLS has a higher ceiling right now because of how much they're trying to beat, Liga MX.
I agree. I think Liga MX has been, I don't know about stagnant, but I guess stagnant. I think MLS has been trying, although at the same time, the MLS, I still think the MLS isn't great football and quality wise, and because of how bad they've been in the past 10, 15 years, they still have a lot of ways to go. And I still think if you ask me right now, you put the best MLS team versus the best Mexican team, I still think the best Mexican team is coming out on top, like 9 times out of 10.
I would agree.
With that being said, I agree with you completely that the MLS is trying. Yes, I still think the football is ass. I'm gonna be honest. I still think it's not that great. I'm not really impressed when I watch it. With that being said, I do think the MLS is trying to get out of that, like, oh yeah, they're bad. And they're trying, and they undoubtedly keep trying. Well, Liga MX, can you say that about them? As someone who doesn't watch it, I don't know, but I want to say no. They aren't trying as hard as they could.
Yeah. Like I said, the quality in Liga MX is there. We know it. We've seen it.
Yeah. The quality is there. There's some good players. There's some genuinely good players.
The MLS thing for me is because we will see it in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. Because the MLS, they're growing their league, but they're really, really growing the youth. And when the youth reaches that age where they're making a difference, when they're better players, then you're going to see it. But Liga MX, they don't have that youth yet. They don't have the same I mean, they do. They definitely do, because the Mexico youth national team is literally one of the best youth national teams in the world. They win so often, it just doesn't translate. So they have it there. That's it. I feel like the USA is trying a little bit harder, and
I will say, I also think some Mexican players need to be a bit more ambitious. I was talking to my dad about this.
That's what I said earlier too.
Maybe a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I think so many of them have that talent, because we know that Mexico can be there. So many of them have that talent, and it's just for some reason they choose to stay in comfortable places, whether it's Mexico or maybe even like a lower league somewhere else. But they don't choose to move on, and I know for sure that if some of them just challenge themselves and moved on to a European league, that they could do something. 100%, I believe that.
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, they choose to stay more often. There's probably a stat out there that shows you how often they stay. I guarantee you, it's pretty high.
Yeah, guaranteed.
100%.
But I mean, it begs, segues, because I saw one of the topics. It begs the question. A bunch of times are changing, guys. Times are changing. Is our neighbors up north? Let's go. Well, we're still keeping it around. Is our neighbors up north, Canada, becoming a powerhouse in Concacaf to the point where it definitely beats Mexico and slides into that number 2 spot at this moment in time?
It's rough to say that it's a definite for sure. But again, they have the chance to say
they have the chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm part Canadian, but I will back my boys and say
you are.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, where did that come from?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm part Canadian.
Okay.
But oh shit, oopsies. But yeah, I'll back.
Bro, you're North America, bro.
I'm
Oh God, he is North
yeah.
America, bro.
That's crazy.
But I'm gonna back my boys. Personally, they finished top of the group for World Cup qualifying out of the Concacaf. They finished first. Went 1, Canada, U.S., Mexico. They played decent for the group they were in for the World Cup. I mean, the expectations were low, but they still played. They tried their best.
Yeah.
And then I feel like if they got the
sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If they got the result against Belgium that they deserved, then they would have been a lot better. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it would have been a lot different.
That game was That pisses me off. That game pisses me off.
Like I feel
To
like
this day,
they got robbed.
To this day,
They got robbed.
they got robbed, bro. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that game pisses me
They
off.
like robbery, but that's what I'm saying. Like they gave Belgium a run for their money to the point
Both
where
were
they should
ass,
have.
but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like a European team
Yeah,
run for
fair,
their money.
yeah.
They could
Yeah.
if they won that game, different story. They could get to the round of 16. Like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it just
Easy.
changes
I
everything.
agree.
And
I
then the
agree.
perspective of Canada changes. But I feel like tomorrow, because we're filming on Saturday, tomorrow's the Nations League final. Canada is playing the U.S. I feel like if Canada puts a strong display and gives the U.S. a run for their money, I'm not saying they could beat the U.S., but there's a chance they can beat the U.S. and gives a strong performance. I feel like they could be in the running for being a powerhouse in the Concacaf. But I'm rooting for Canada just because underdog season. Why not? Gotta support my boys. But yeah, I think Canada could be a powerhouse. I think at the moment way better than Mexico because in the World Cup qualifying, Canada did beat Mexico convincingly. So I feel like Canada is better than Mexico, but I feel like everyone's better than Mexico at this point in time because they're just shit.
Yeah.
So I think Canada has overtaken that spot, and I think they have the results to prove it. I think tomorrow is going to be a big statement, especially if they perform really well against the U.S. Because let's be honest, they're going to both play their best starting 11. U.S. wants to cement themselves as the powerhouse in CONCACAF. But I feel like if Canada can pull an upset, I feel like they can be strong contenders to be up there as the powerhouse or one of the powerhouses. Because they already are, but you know what I mean? Like giving more respect to their name in that sense.
Yeah.
I think if you were a time traveler and you came back from 5 years from now, you told me Canada was just the solid powerhouse, second powerhouse over Mexico by far, I believe you. I mean, I don't think they're beating USA in terms of quality and being a powerhouse.
Right.
Anytime soon, or ever personally.
I do think
with how
they're
it's going.
giving USA a run for their money, though. I don't
They
think
are.
USA
I mean,
should underestimate
Yeah,
them.
it's not.
I think
it's
for
not going
me,
to be a
it's
pushover.
a big factor here, and I forget his name. Aiden Morris, a youth player for the USA. He could have picked Canada or USA. Canada picked him in the roster for Nations League, as did USA, and he picked the USA. I think the sooner we see more players the sooner we see that players would pick Canada over USA, then it's a little bit more chance to worry. I don't think it's happening anytime soon, personally. Unless the only people that would do it are those who are in a position where like the star player at USA is. They're not going to get game time. I think Canada are trying really hard though. They started their own league, their Premier League, I think a few years ago. I actually follow them on Instagram. It's really interesting to watch. Not the poorest quality.
It's actually fun to watch. Yeah, it's not bad.
It is. It's not bad. They compete with MLS teams in like their Canadian Cups as well as Champions League and stuff. They don't do too much, but I can see it over time they will. But Canada is a team that honestly I want to do good. As a USA fan, I want them to do good. It's another team in a region that's been dominated by 2, maybe 3 teams if you want to count Costa Rica in terms of the World Cup.
They had their run. They had a good run.
Costa Rica had the run, and they are a team that no one values. No one values, which they should be valued. There was 2 minutes in the World Cup where they were supposed to go to the round of 16, and I think that's honorable enough. But like Canada being
Mexico
the
had
quality
those
they
2
are right
minutes.
now, being the quality they are right now, it makes the CONCACAF very interesting. Because I'm really happy that the USA.
I'm glad someone can compete with the U.S. because shit.
Well,
I'm tired of
as a
seeing these
whole-
Instagram pages.
as a, sorry.
Man. After the game, I just didn't go on social media because all I saw was Western
understand.
McKinney. I just couldn't be fucking bothered. I was like, you know what? Like, I honestly couldn't be. Don't even get me started on that whole fight because that just pissed me off. Both sides
I won't
acting
then.
like babies, man.
I won't then.
Both sides acting like babies.
I think if Canada at that point, it makes CONCACAF a lot more interesting and a lot more watchable. And a lot more watchable for a lot of people around the world.
Sorry, I got mad just thinking about it.
I think Andres wants me to bring it up. It's the taking gathering here.
No, don't bring it up.
I don't
I'm gonna
think you
just-
should. I don't think you
I-
should.
I- I'm
It's
not
gonna
going
open
to.
a can of worms that it's a tangent.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Let's just not do that.
So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your comments down below what Mexico needs to do in order to improve their squad so they can once again battle Team USA and give them a run for their money. And and hopefully Canada can do their business on Sunday. But we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and peace.